Rick, what do you, top three things? What do you bring to the table that, aside from being a working man and not being in politics, that Frank Guinta either didn't or has failed to?
Well, there's three things right off the bat that I would if I would have been the congressman that made it through the 2010 primary and I went on to Washington. Three very, very disturbing things that I find that are very personal with me is, as a representative of Washington, being a conservative on the Republican side, we were supposed to lead by example, okay? And one of the things that hasn't been there for the people, we set a voice that we want to be conservative, okay? Fiscal conservative is one thing. By going to Washington and voting 3 times, not once, not twice, 3 times to raise the debt ceiling, all we're doing is kicking the can down the street. And I wouldn't have ever voted for any one of those debt ceilings, and debt ceiling raising. And part of that is if you're going to be pressured by outside sources or party leadership, and you're not going to stand up as an individual and listen to the people that you're supposed to be representing, I take issue with that, and that's one of my key things. Secondly, NDAA. When our representative in Congress voted against that, extending that's a problem. You have TRICARE that these veterans need, that no longer it's going to be cut back. You also take away the combat pay and the battle pay for those guys that are in those regions that are fighting for our protectorate. Okay, that's why the military's there. They're there to stand up, and that's what the idea of the United States government is supposed to do. They're there to protect this country, and those troops that are over there, you strap their hands, and by taking away those benefits that are associated with the NDAA. I take exception to. I would have voted to extend that. And secondly, Patriot Act. Okay, the Patriot Act is it's atrocious to take more of your freedoms away. Government is overreaching and encroaching on, as I say, our safe zone, our sovereign nation, as our body, as our freedoms. Stuff that we've had since our founding fathers set those in place. And extending the Patriot Act, and I understand that George Bush put that in. But I would have voted against that. I think there's already enough oversight, overreach, and limitations to our freedom, and I would have championed against that, and I would have stood out. And just on a side note too, the things that the president doing, it's representing us as a nation against his own people is atrocious. And I would have called to have him impeached when he started acting like a dictator. I would have been one of the first people up there to say, hey, no, you can't mandate these different programs that you're trying to push on the people. I have insurance, I'm lucky. There's people that aren't. I don't mind helping people out there that don't have insurance. But when you start mandating and you say now, well, I'd have to ask you guys this. Is it today, is it a tax? Or is it going to be a penalty? It's still being litigated to this day. And just recently, a recent vote, I would have not so much followed party pressures. I would have said, yes, okay, we're going to repeal, but don't replace it. Just get rid of Obamacare 100%. Get rid of it and just scrap it. Put it back to the states. Okay, that's what the 10th Amendment gives us. It gives us the states the power. And that's where it should start. Okay, healthcare, allow people to compete across the board. But the key 3 things, voting to raise the debt ceiling, the Patriot Act, I take very much exception here. And today, these freedoms, us here today at Smart Girl Politics, this armed and fabulous shootout and awareness. We wouldn't be able to do this, and the more of these freedoms that keep getting taken away from us that have to do with the Patriot Act, we'd be considered terrorists. And again,
well, actually, DHS early on put out some papers that that literally did call us terrorists because we believe in the Constitution, we believe in fiscal frugality, smaller government, Second Amendment rights, and a lot of the veterans coming back were also classified as possible terrorists as well.
For doing their job. For standing up. And the idea of the military is to stand up for that Constitution. And that's what your representative in Washington is supposed to do. He's supposed to champion for the constitutional rights of your state. And I'm not saying that. We're losing that.
GrokTV.